Yeah, Shabbat Shalom. Please, I want you to listen to this wonderful message because some people asking me every time when I have HighDay Sabbath, when I want to keep HighDay Sabbath, some people asking me, this Sabbath, is it different? I say yes. They have HighDay Sabbath. They have weekly Sabbath. So, many of my fans, please watch this video so you can understand more. Because many people asking me about why I keeping Sabbath, maybe Monday, maybe Sunday, maybe Tuesday. I'm telling them they have HighDay Sabbath. So this HighDay Sabbath, I want you to listen so you can do what? You understand the meaning of the HighDay Sabbath. They have two Sabbaths. They have the one called HighDay Sabbath. They have the one called weekly Sabbath. Let's continue.
You shall count unto you
from the morrow after the Sabbath.
From the morrow after the Sabbath. I will deal with this one because it's another area. You shall count unto you from the morrow after the Sabbath. Some people have gone crazy on the idea that they had Sabbath.
So
the moment they hear the morrow after the Sabbath, there is only one Sabbath in their head, and that is the weekly Sabbath.
Do you understand? Because they have weekly Sabbath. They have HighDay Sabbath.
Now, can I ask you, how many Sabbaths do we have? 2. Can you name them? Number 1, the weekly Sabbath is number 1.
Yeah.
Is the first one, the weekly Sabbath. It comes every week. From Friday and ends on Saturday. Is somebody listening?
Yes, sir.
Then what is the second one?
HighDay Sabbath.
Okay. How come you just heard count from the morrow after the Sabbath, and you slapped your brain and numbed it and said it must be the weekly Sabbath? I won't worry you because it is described there if your mind is still open. Yes?
And you shall count unto you from the morrow after the Sabbath.
Yes?
From the day that you brought the sheaf of the wave offering.
That Sabbath is the Sabbath you brought the wave of the sheaf offering. Doesn't it distinguish it? It's not any Sabbath, but the Sabbath in which you brought the wave of the sheaf offering. That is where you begin the count. Okay, how many of you kept the last Sabbath day in your synagogues? How many of you? All of us virtually. Did you bring the wave of the sheaf offering?
No, sir.
So why are you counting the regular Sabbath wherein you did not bring any wave sheaf offering? So this leaves us to understand, if your mind is open, that the Sabbath being mentioned here. I've actually had this stupid argument with somebody. And he wants to tell me he traveled abroad, but not to Israel. What do you know? But let's leave him aside because it doesn't matter a bit. The point remains, look at it. Count from the morrow after the Sabbath in which you brought the wave sheaf offering. We bring it only once a year. and we bring it on the second day.
Of unleavened bread.
So counting after the Sabbath means counting after the Sabbath that began the feast which we brought it. Hold on, Leviticus, somebody else. Leviticus.
Yeah, listen now. When you listen this message, you're going to understand different weekly Sabbath and the HighDay Sabbath. So listen, so easy for you to understand. So maybe tomorrow you cannot ask me again, because many of my friends asking me this. If I try to tell them, but they cannot understand it normal. Now, when you watch this video, you can understand it normal. Listen. Now you're going to read in Bible now. Watch.
Leviticus 23, 6 and 7.
6 and 7.
Uh-huh.
And on the 15th day of the same month
On the 15th day of the same month, referring to Aviv, yes,
is the feast of unleavened bread.
is the feast of unleavened bread. 15th day is the feast of
Unleavened bread.
unleavened bread, yes,
Unto the Lord.
unto the Lord.
7 days ye must eat unleavened bread.
Yes,
7.
yes.
In the first day
In the first day, which is that 15,
ye shall have an holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work therein.
can you hear?
Yes, sir.
15th day that commenced the feast of unleavened bread
Bam.
is a Sabbath.
Ụbọchị nke iri na ise na-amalite mmemme achịcha ekeweko bụ ụbọchị izu ike.
Okay, let's say this very slowly before we become temperamental. 1. There are 2 Sabbaths.
Nke mbụ bụ na enwegodo Sabbath na abụọ.
You agree?
Ikwekwo nke a.
Sabbath.
1 is the weekly Sabbath.
Nke mbụ bụ Sabbath na-abịa kwa izu.
It begins Friday
Ọ na-amalite
evening
ọdịda anyanwụ Friday.
and Saturday evening.
Jedebe ọdịda anyanwụ Saturday.
It is weekly. Another word is regular. Regular. It doesn't fail.
Ọ na-abịa kwa mgbe kwa mgbe. Ọ da agbanwe.
Then the second one is the HighDay Sabbath. How do we know it?
Nke ịbụọ bụ ụbọchị izu ike na-amalite.
Now listen, so you can understand more that HighDay Sabbath.
Mmemme ka esi ama ya.
The HighDay Sabbath begins or ends a feast.
Ọ na-amalite mmemme ma ọ bụ jedebe mmemme Chineke ọbụla.
By this evening, we'll enter a HighDay Sabbath.
Ọdịda anyanwụ tata anyị aba ụbọchị izu ike nke ememe.
Why? If you
Give
don't
me better.
answer that, then you didn't understand me. By this evening, we'll enter a HighDay Sabbath. Why? Because it is the beginning of a feast.
Anyanwụ na-adata anyị aba ụbọchị izu ike maka ọ na-amalite mmemme Shavuot.
So, HighDay Sabbath announces or heralds the beginning or the ending of a Sabbath.
Ụbọchị izu ike nke oke emume na-ebido ma ọ bụ kwụsị mmemme.
Have you heard it now? So they have 2 Sabbaths. They have what? 2 Sabbaths. HighDay Sabbath and the weekly Sabbath. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Remember, they have 2 Sabbaths.